Hello, everyone, and welcome to the table. So, welcome to 2025. We have a lot of brand new knife companies who are after your hard earned money. So, what do we have right here? We have a company called Geo Knife. So, they sent this out to me and they kind of wanted to see my thoughts and opinions on the knife. So, I'm going to share those with you before anyone else. But I have some first impressions of this knife. I believe it is called the Ethereal cutter, which is kind of a cool name when you think about it. But I believe it might be the only knife that Geo Knife currently produces. So we're going to check out this Ethereal cutter. I think Ethereal is a pretty cool name, a little bit unique. And this variant that I was sent actually has these really cool Ultem scales, which is that transparent yellow plasticky material, which actually kind of fits the name Ethereal very well. But what do we have here? It's actually really impressive what you're getting at this price point because it is one of those mid-range budgety knives. But we actually have, believe it or not, right there, check out that blade. This, I don't know if you can read the tiny microscopic text they put on there, but if you can't zoom in and read that, this is an M390 blade. And so this M390 blade, I believe these are retailing for like 65-ish, $70. That's actually a steal. You don't, steal. I see what I said. But either way, you don't get that type of steel on a lot of budget knives nowadays. And you might say that this price isn't a budget knife, but I think it's kind of leaving budgetary territory, going into mid-range territory. So the Ethereal here, again, we can see we're using a crossbar lock right there. So your Axis style lock. And what's really cool about Ultem is that we have this see-through look to it. So you can see the springs, when you're opening and closing the blade, you can see the springs moving and compressing. When you activate the lock, you can see the springs moving in the body, which is pretty cool. And I think for a crossbar action, that's pretty cool to have this material. So that's pretty well done. The blade also is unique in that I don't see a lot of clip point blades nowadays. And they do have a drop point variant of this one as well, but they opted to send me the clip point, and I am so thankful for that because this is different. It's something that makes it a little bit unique because you see a lot of drop points out there. You see a lot of sheath foot, worn clips, all that stuff, but you don't see too many clips nowadays. So that's kind of an uncommon thing. And it's stonewashed, which is very nice because in a world of satin blades, we have something stonewashed, again, a little bit different than the competition. The action on the crossbar lock, straight out of the box, it was a little tight. I think from the factory, they set it a little tight. So I did dial it back a little bit and loosen it. So in terms of lockup, there's really no issues with that either. It feels pretty secure. And in terms of the amount of lock face hitting that blade, you can kind of see in there. I feel it's making pretty good contact with that crossbar lock. So it feels fairly safe. No issues there. Nice jimping along the blade. Dual thumb stud action. But of course, being a crossbar lock, you can always flick it out. So very fidgetable if that is a thing that you want to do with your blades. But again, they did a lot right with this design. And one of those things that they did right is, like, let's say you wanted to take this knife apart, had to take it apart. Take a look at the hardware here, the screws. You can always tell the quality of a good knife is when you look at the screws. So you can see they're nice, deep set screws, very high quality there. And so they are all T8s. I do believe you need a T6 for the pocket clip if you wanted to take that off as well. But either way, these body screws are a nice deep T8 screw bit. And you can see the actual lock ends right here. And the entire handle is all Ultem. So it's all that nice see-through plastic, which is really cool because, again, that helps contribute to a very light weight. So let's actually see how much it weighs. So let's pull that out. So the Ethereal here is 2.4 ounces, which is pretty respectable given the size of the knife. So let's pull out the ruler and we will measure that out. So our blade length right here is pretty much smack dab at 3 inches of blade length. Overall length about 7 1/4 inches. So very carry friendly in my opinion at that size. So nice 3-inch blade, maybe a hair shorter than that, but I wouldn't test it if that your locality requires that. But again, pivot on this side, we can see it's just a clean, pivot, no decoration, no fancy designs, just nice clean pivot, and then screw on the other side. Our pocket clip is a, nice deep carry option right there. And again, they went the extra mile. They put a filler tab on the show side here so that if you do reverse the blade, you can put that filler tab over here, and it just helps with the lines, the design. It makes it look a little bit nicer, a little more higher end. So I appreciate these little extra touches that you get for this price. So a filler tab, deep carry clip. The screws, as you can see, are totally flush in the handle, and so there's no issues going to be getting this in or out of pocket. They did put the name on the clip, but it's actually very small, so not too billboardy if you don't like that type of style. But also a nice stonewashed pocket clip, so stonewashed blade clip. All the hardware is very subdued, nothing shiny, overly shiny on this knife, which does feel good in hand. So pretty impressive. And now this is, as far as I know, their only model, but I think they actually offer this with like a nice titanium body too, which would be a lot, cooler in hand, but of course more expensive. But really excellent knife in my hands, in my opinion, and very thoughtful, of course. They included the cloth, obviously. Here in the box, though, we did get an extra set of these Omega springs. So it's never happened to me, but sometimes with the crossbar lock, those little springs can snap. And if that is the case, you definitely want to be able just to drop in a replacement, because again, this company is based in China. So there's not going to be a lot of local support or somewhere to send things to for warranty. So you want to be able to service the pocket knife yourself if you ever should need to. But everything else about the knife straight out of the box has been very impressive. We can do a quick size comparison because, of course, with a nice little lightweight crossbar lock knife, it's very natural to want to compare it to a Benchmade. So I always love to provide the Benchmade bug out for comparison purposes. So right here we have a full-size Benchmade bug out, and we can see again the size comparison there. Bug out's slightly longer in the overall length. We also have a mini bug out. So like so many of these knives, we have this kind of Goldilocks zone between the full size and the mini bug out, and that's right where this GEO knife fits in. So interesting company. Glad they were able to send this out, and they reached out to me, I want to say more than a month ago, and it showed up in the mail. Very happy to be able to share my thoughts and opinions on this knife. But really what you're getting, 2025, a lot of newcomers onto the scene, and I have yet to see a bad knife from any of them. So if this GEO knife, 65-ish bucks, M390 steel, if that is in your budget range, I think it's something really worth visiting and thinking about purchasing. I would not hesitate to purchase one if that's something that you're into. So hope if you have any questions about this particular knife, want to see other comparisons, let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, I hope all of you out there, I hope you all have a knife day, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.